Hello there, this is Cindy at Cindy B Designs. Thank you for joining me today. We are making this adorable gift box and note card from the Meant to Be Scrapbook Workshop Kit and the bundle, along with Be My Valentine that was carried over from the spring catalog last year. I showed you those two in my Facebook Live on Wednesday, and today is Saturday. And I made a couple more boxes for more examples. That is where I just wrapped the designer series paper all the way around. This is where I cut the designer series paper and layered it on top. And excuse the lighting there. It's nasty outside and overcast and just, yeah, it was really hard to capture it. And so I made this one too, where I used cardstock and designer series paper and wrapped it all the way around with a ton of tear and tape. That thing could survive a nuclear blast. I mean, it's strong. And then you can also make these boxes out of designer series paper as well, and they're strong because you have four flaps at the bottom holding the bottom. And that is what I decided that we were going to do today because this is going to be a longer video, and I would have done the cardstock one, but I changed my mind after I did the DSP one. Now, I am going to slow this down a little bit. We have one sheet of paper of that, okay? And you really want to watch your orientation. The 9.5 that you're cutting, that is going to be the top of the bag. So you want your images to, line up perfectly that way. Hold on to that sheet for something else, rotate it, and then that is going to be cut at 10.5 for the bottom. And I'm going to rotate it back again on the 9.5-inch side. Yeah, I slowed it down on purpose so I can get through all this for you. And I think I'm thinking here, yeah, it's like measure once or measure several times and then, cut once. So you want to, first score line is going to be at 2 inches, and you don't want to shove that score in there because it'll rip your paper. And then the second score line is going to be at 4.5 inches, and I'm going really light on that. And the third score line is going to be at 6.5 inches. And then the fourth one and your last one is going to be right at 9 inches. And that's going to fold around and make our box. Now remember, the top of our designer series paper, where it all orientates properly, is going to be the top of the box. You want to score that at 1 inch. And then the bottom is going to be scored at 2 inches. And I'm not going to speed this up or anything while I cut this, so that way I did make a mistake, not in the scoring or the cutting or anything like that. I made a mistake in the fold, and I'll let you know when I do that, before I do it, just in case you're following along with me. So that is the opposite side of our designer series paper, and there's going to be two little panels that we cut off and then cut up 3 of them. So I folded over the top of um, our 1 inch, that we're going to fold over there. Do not put your tape like I am doing that. That is where I messed up, but I was able to fix it because I only had one sheet of this designer series paper. So one thing I did learn from all of this, the pattern that you want out front or on top, you want to put your tear and tape on that side. So like I said, that did work out okay. And that is going to be the top, and I'm folding everything around now, just making sure I have everything straight, which I obviously didn't because I put the tape on first. So you don't want to do that. And I'm kind of going slow and thinking things through a little bit right here because I just filmed this maybe 10 minutes ago. And on at the top right there where my tear and tape is, and that 1 inch fold line that you see there, you want to put your tape on that I just folded over. But you're going to have like this teeny tiny little tick there. That first one, you want to chop that off there. And then that is going to give you where you fold over your paper, and that's where you scored at the 9 inches. And so at the bottom score line there, you want to just take that edge off too. And that is going to be where you scored 2 inches at the bottom, and the first one is going to be where you scored 1 inch at the top. So got that done. And now folding that down, and it was easier for me to see to cut up on the really pattern side rather than the side that I just did. Normally, I don't like to do on my score lines until I get everything cut up, but we're going to make, excuse me, 4 boxes out of that. Or, that's not boxes, but that's where our fold is. So what I did was like pretty much cut straight up the score line there. And then if I didn't get my edges as close as I liked, I just went back in, and I'm sure I did this with all of them, and cut everything straight up, and then did my folds at the same time. And that is why this is going so slow, because I'm trying to see everything, not make any more mistakes or anything like that. And I feel bad that I've cleared my throat and everything like that and had some verbal jumbles, but I'm kind of on a roll right now and don't want to stop talking for once, despite the fact that I hate doing these voiceovers with a passion. So I guess I better get, on board with the live thing because it's just so much less work. Okay, so got all that cut up, and now this is when I'm just going to get everything folded up. And I'm not using a bone folder or anything like that because with designer series paper, the more you manipulate it, it's going to crack on you. And I had zero cracks in this whatsoever. So, just be gentle, take it easy. So I'm getting everything folded over now, and I'm looking, and it's like, oh man, I completely messed this up. What do I do? Because you saw me fold it over, and the side I really wanted to show, which was like the beehive old olive side of the designer series paper, it had that piece of tear and tape on it. So as I was trying to figure out what exactly I was trying to do for today's project, I had like a sliver of that designer series paper that I cut that we're going to use for our card as well. And this is where I'm thinking, and pulled it in real quick and decided to, okay, I'm pulling out that tear and tape. We're going to use this. I'm going to split up that lip that we're folding over, and it worked out perfectly. And I was so thrilled because, again, I only had one piece of paper of this, and it was one I really, really, really wanted to use. So now I'm going to pull the tear and tape off that, get that down, snip the end off of that because there is going to be some overhang. And not wing it from here on out, but make my little correction. And I am taking my time getting that on there just so it's perfect. Once that is down and I get the excess snipped off, you're going to see me just kind of fold it around lightly, check, double check, triple check after that taboo snafu there. And okay, figured it out. So I'm having to lay down more tear and tape on the designer series paper side, and then I'm gonna do my folding thing like I said earlier, and that is where you lay your tear and tape, is on the designer series paper up at the top there, and then on the side to, I always do that just to get the tape down really well, and on the side just like that. So those are the only two places where you're going to need it. Not the side, the top. I guess I haven't gotten to the side yet because I'm not speeding through this like I normally do. So this is when I'm going to fold it over. And actually it worked out because I kind of like that contrast, to tell you the truth. So I'm okay with that. So the fold over of our bag is going to be like the only big snafu I make during this. And Now I'm grabbing our tear and tape and I'm just going to put it on the inside. And again, the side, you know, the front of the bag, the side of the paper that we want to see in the front. And then I'm going to snip that end off. And I'm going to eventually start folding things up a little bit. When I fold the bag over, I'm going to, keep it at normal speed. And then when I start doing the flaps on the bottom to make the bottom of the box, I'll probably go to double speed because it's just a lot of adhering after that. But I wanted to make sure that you got the foundation of this. And you can see I'm turning things up a little bit because when I was going to take the tape off, it looked like I was going to have a little bit of overhang there. So I just fixed it, a little preemptive strike. Right then and there, figured everything out, and now I'm going to pull the tape off. And the easiest way to make sure everything lines up is simply fold it over like that, and it lines up just perfectly. And I double, triple check this and everything because I'm kind of gun shy a little bit from my top messing up, and I knew I was filming, don't want to blow it again. Got that down, and that is how easy it is to make this box. So this is where I'm pulling it together. Give it a little extra crease at the top because we do have a lot of cardstock up there now. And I'm going light on that as well. And do I have any creases? No, because I'm looking at the box in front of me. And we're actually really good all the way around on that. So where you fold it over and your cardstock meets there, it's a pretty seamless line, but I'm still going to call it ugly a little bit. So you want that facing towards the back. And for my box, it's going to be on the back left. And so when I'm flipping the box over, and I'm going to use tear and tape on those flaps because I don't want the soap going through the box or anything like that. That gives it a little bit more stability than I think liquid adhesive would. So I'm taking my time here, making sure several times and folding it up because, again, my ugly is towards, well, it's on the left back. So what I want to do is make sure the front flap that's in the front of the box, you fold that straight towards the back so that way you have no seam at the front at all, but you can see at the back where it'll fold over. And you're going to see me do that. So I spoke ahead of myself a little bit, so hopefully it would make sense to you. And I want to make sure that that tear and tape stays down there really well. So that's why I flipped it back over. And now I'm going to pull the tape off of, well, we're halfway through the folding process. I'm pulling the tape off that. And again, there is my seam, flipping it around. And I'm folding that one in because that's going to go towards the back. There's my back left up there that you can see at the top. I'm pointing to it and you can't even see me do it when I'm doing this voiceover. It's at the back left there. And then right where I'm putting the tear and tape, that's where my ugly is. And then I'm going to peel that off. And when I, you know, flip that over to the back, it's going to be seamless in front. And then you have your box. And that is how simple it is to put this together. The soap fits in perfectly. And that was pretty much it. We are ready to decorate the front of our box right now. And I am taking the second largest banner from Nested Essentials and cut another piece of the designer series paper in meant to be. And I want to die cut two of those banners out of that piece of paper there. Now remember, in those die cuts, we have the hexagons. And coming up next, we are going to be using two of those, the largest, hold on, the smallest one, and then the one size above that. And I'm going to be cutting that, the large one, or the one above the smallest one, That is going to be cut from Pool Party cardstock, and then I'm going to cut it again out of basic white cardstock. And you get the frames as well too, so go ahead and save those for whatever you want to save them for. An interlocking card or, something like that. So for this here, I'm grabbing our basic white, laying that atop of, well, the basic white cardstock. I'm distracted here because I just spliced this in after I did the entire voiceover here, and I'm really hoping it doesn't mess everything up. And you want to grab the smallest one, and you get that nested in there as perfectly as you can on all four sides. And it took me a little while because after the bag and everything like that, I'm just like, okay, I'm kind of done with screwing up for the day, right? Got that laid down, run that through the mini Stampin' cut and emboss machine, and it's going to give me a frame there. And I'm going to take that frame. No, hold on for a second. Okay, that is going from the smallest one, that is going to go right in the middle. Okay, I did do it right. And then the frame that's comes out with it as well, zoomed in there because I'm going to show you how I'm going to stamp this. I'm going to take some liquid Tombow Mono and adhere that to around that hexagon there. And you'll see like a little bit of, it gives it like a blue hue after that. But in the meantime, I want to get my sentiment down and our little honeycomb hive pattern that we're stamping. So I'm pulling that out, and that is going to go down in daffodil ink. And those little hive or honeycomb deals, they line up perfectly together. I just didn't line them up as well as I thought I did, but you know what? It's okay. It still works out. So I lay that around like, at the bottom, then towards the left, and then up towards the top on the left, and that's going to be it for that. And I think I'm going to pop that out, put it in my Stamparatus, and then get our sentiment down, and then our large heart, and we will go from there. Now, I know that this is a longer video, and yeah, it's just a long video, but I do hope that you got something out of this, learn how to make something new, whether it be the box, ways to decorate, different ways to make the box. It's all good with me because I do this for you. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me off an email, leave a comment, whatnot, and I'll be sure to get back to you. So our sentiment from this is Be My Valentine. I wanted the smaller sentiments here because, we got the small hexagon there. Lay that down in Memento Tuxedo Black. And the sentiments I used on the bag and on this card, I think are generic enough to where I could turn the inside of the card into like a birthday card or add like a little hanging tag from the strap I want to put on there. This is happy birthday or whatever, just to tie it all together. But the way that the box turns out and the card turns out, I mean, you can tell that they obviously coordinate very, very well. And I think I got some great use out of the product. I didn't bring in any of the ephemera or stickers or anything like that, but it still worked out. That large heart, that is from Meant to Be. That is going down with Petunia Pop ink. That's a color I haven't used rarely until recently, and I love it. And it's an in color that, well, it's a new one, so I'm good with that. So that is what our sentiment looks like in the sentiment panel, and it's going to go right in between there like that. The first thing I'm going to do right here while we're adhering everything is this is the second part that I had to splice in because I don't know why I completely forgot about it. And I was wondering why this was so short after everything I had to do. But if I cut off abruptly in about 3 minutes, it's so the beginning of the card, you can hear how that goes. Little teeny tiny dots of adhesive on the back of that, and getting it down there, making sure everything lines up okay. And then I'm going to take our sentiment slash image panel, and I'm talking fast now just in case I run out of time. And I'm going to adhere that with liquid adhesive right there in the center. And then you can see that pool party frame that I'm talking about. That would be really cute on the card too, but then I feel like it'll get to be like too much pool party-y. So decided not to do that. And plus I'm working on a, well, not smaller space. I'm working on a smaller space with a bag than anything else. But I just wanted to keep everything, lined up okay. So I'm pulling back in the banners that we cut and slipping them in behind our hexagon piece there. I'm going to flip that over, get everything lined up as you can see there, pull in some more tape, and just lay it across there and get that adhered to the back, and then we will be fine. And I'm kind of looking, okay, can I get away with Stampin' Dimensionals here, using that? And I can. So again, I'm going to flip that over and pull the bones off our dimensionals, line those up on the back. I am not using ribbon for this like I do on the card because, you want to keep your colors balanced and everything like that. So this is where I pop on 3 little glue dots, and I'm going to scatter them about, one down there and then 2 up by the heart. And again, I'm going to flip that over and then add some bones and dimensionals to the back of that whole image panel there, and then adhere it to the front center of the bag. And this is why I'm going to quit doing this voiceover, so you might get some silence, and that way I'm not double talking myself when the card part comes up. So enjoy. For our card, I am using a note card, and they are 3.5 by 5, and we have them in packs of I think 10 or 20. And I am bringing in the hexagon shapes from Meant to Be. And there's a lot of them in there that I showed you in Wednesday's Facebook. So that is from the smallest hexagon because it's got to fit on that little teeny tiny card. So from Be My Valentine, I am going to be using everything that I need to make the bee. I grabbed like that little bee line there, decided not to use it in the long run, just in case you're pulling everything out. And I cut that out of basic white cardstock. And again, that is the smallest hexagon in that Meant to Be dies. I'm layering on that cute as can be sentiment that's going to go down in Memento Tuxedo Black from that stamp set you see right there that coordinates with the dies that we're using. And I love those big sentiments. Even though this, is a smaller card, note card size. But I needed that because we're going to be laying on a piece of busy paper and some ribbon and things like that. I wanted to keep everything focused and centered there. And I clean up as I go along because it drives me nuts just to have a mess. So I think you're going to have to suffer with me through that this time rather than just me tossing everything aside. Okay, and this is when I decided, hey, I gotta have those things that I need to fit the bee, like the little smile and his antenna. So I'm going to pop our hexagon back down on there again, and I'm grabbing, there's a heart image in there with like three little teeny tiny hearts, and I'm going to ink those up in Petunia Pop ink and stamp them down twice because I'm going to layer down some Petunia Pop ribbon behind that sentiment as we finish up this card. And you know that rule of three thing. And I'm bringing in this piece. It's just a piece of basic white scratch paper. And I'm going to lay down our bumblebee body, and that's going to go down in Daffodil Delight. And the middle of the bumblebee, that is going to be laid down in Memento Tuxedo Black, along with a little smiley face and the antenna. And I'm actually getting some really good cover this, or yeah, ink coverage this time. I was really surprised about that and pleasantly happy. So that is going down, and I'm going to end up punching all those images out with that punch there. But if memory serves, my fresh battery that I just popped in before I did this died. I don't know why. And I think I'm going to end up punching those out when it's not running and I come back and everything will be punched out. But we're able to assemble the bee together and get the rest of the front of the card together. So this is where I'm going to be laying down the bee part there in the basic black, not basic black, Memento Tuxedo Black. And I come back in again to check. I always do that, check twice and then lay it back down if you have to, because with this, those edges, I mean, they're designed to line up perfectly, and they do line up perfectly. And if it's not super, super perfect, I mean, you kind of wing it, and it's okay. But this time they actually turned out perfect. So I'm getting that down, and I've said a lot before, that tool is called a Chucky. I picked it up online, and it just really helps you get your ink down. And no, I didn't have to go back and restamp that. And when you use Memento, clean that stamp up good because you don't want any residue, which it does have the tendency to go in between the images there, especially with the line art. So I thought I would put down, I'm trying to get those little teeny tiny antennas down. So I thought I would put down the wings in Petunia Pop, or black, for actually black basic or Memento. And I thought, no, that's just kind of, you know, too much Memento in there. So that's where you see me hesitating, pulling that off, decide to go ahead and get the antenna down, make sure that's okay, get that cleaned up. I guess I'm going to lay it down twice, get it cleaned up, and then I decide to bring in Old All, and this is where the camera dies. Okay, I am back. So we are getting in the home stretch now. I got the wings down on Old Olive, got everything punched out, and now I'm just going to take my time in figuring out where to get everything. Put some Tombow Mono liquid adhesive on there to attach the antenna and then the wings. But as I'm doing all that, I want to remind you, I put out my paper pumpkin video on Tuesday of my alternatives. Leave a comment there to get, throw your name into a hat, and I'll send you the January paper pumpkin kit. As I do a monthly giveaway doing that. So I cut my piece of designer series paper down from the meant to be scrapbooking kit, and that is the light and dark pool party that is in the kit. That is cut to 3.5 by 5, and that is the size of a note card. So I wanted to make sure I got everything down just the right way. Adhesive is fine for this. I specifically chose that piece of designer series paper so to bounce off our our gift bag there. And it worked out. I'm kind of figuring everything out, like the layout, what I want to do. I know that I want to put that petunia pop ribbon behind that little, or our sentiment there. And I'm going to take some, I use that tape for everything. It's just temporary low tack tape that I use. And I'm grabbing a piece of household tape and I'm going to pop that on the back to keep those two together. And then liquid adhesive just on the back of that bee there. And that will adhere right to our sentiment hexagon. And this is where I'm going to grab that petunia pop ribbon. And I think I'm going to eventually go to the store and get some grommets and use my crocodile to go ahead and put a handle on that bag there. And now I'm just going to loop around the ribbon in the back, make it cute, but not too overhangy loopy because I only have like a 3.5-inch cross space to work with. And I'm going to try that again. And the best way for me to do this is just secure it right off the bat with a piece of tape, because that way it stays down to begin with. And then it's easier for me to use both my hands to get everything together. I hesitate to use any kind of clips on something like this because I don't want my paper getting, when you have multiple layers on there and you put clips on it, sometimes it can get kind of wonky on you and leave a mark. So I'm trying to avoid that. Got my ribbon laid down just the right way. And I'm going to use the bones. Those are the sides of our Stampin' Dimensionals. And then pop that on the back of our sentiment / image panel there. And yeah, the one on the right comes from just a regular package. And then the one on the left, I just went ahead and grabbed a mini. I'm going to flip that over, pop it on there. You know, pretty much top to bottom, left to right, get that centered. And then we are going to be done with that card almost. What I'm going to do now is put on like 3 little glue dots and then pop on 3 of those tiny bee trinkets that go to another bundle in the spring catalog. And I know everything's like really super bee-ish here, but it's really cute and it works together perfectly. And that's a great way to embellish a card like we did our box. As we are finishing up today, thank you for joining me. Please don't forget to leave me a comment, hit like and subscribe. Feel free to share. This is what we did today. Everything that you need will be over on the blog at cindybedesigns.com. I can't necessarily say measurements, but I will give you the box ones again. And I will see you again next week.